In the cold silence of deep space, the human ship Starfire 7 drifted slowly near an unknown planet. The crew had been exploring uncharted space for weeks, scanning planets, searching for signs of life, or anything useful. Ethan Cross, the ship's chief engineer, was checking energy readings when a strange signal appeared on his console. It wasn't from their ship. It was weak, broken, almost like a cry for help. He called out, "Captain, I've got something. Looks like a distress signal, alien origin." The captain agreed to investigate. They followed the signal and found a small alien scout ship floating near an asteroid belt. The ship was damaged, smoke leaking from its sides, one wing torn apart. It looked like it had crashed into the rocks and was barely holding together. With permission, Ethan and two others suited up and entered the broken alien ship. Inside, they found her, a wounded alien woman lying near the control panel, her skin glowing faintly blue, her hair dark silver like starlight. She was unconscious but breathing. They brought her aboard Starfire 7 and placed her in the med bay. Ethan stayed by her side, watching the strange patterns on her skin shift slowly like moving light. She was clearly not human, but she looked peaceful, almost graceful. After a few hours, she opened her eyes. Her gaze locked with Ethan's, calm, curious, and intelligent. "My name is Sierra Valen," she said softly, her voice clear but accented. "You saved me." Ethan smiled. "You're safe now, don't worry." She looked at his face, then reached into a pocket on her uniform and pulled out a small glowing crystal. The light inside moved like liquid fire. "This is for you," she said. "My life is yours." Ethan hesitated, but didn't want to be rude. He smiled and took the crystal from her hand, holding it between his fingers. The moment he touched it, a warm pulse passed through his palm, like something alive had entered his body. Sierra lowered her eyes and whispered something in her own language. Ethan didn't understand, and he laughed lightly. "Guess that means thank you." But Sierra didn't laugh. Her expression was serious, respectful, almost sacred. Later that night, strange things began happening on the ship. The lights in the hallway flickered when Ethan passed. Doors opened without him touching them. The ship's AI began responding to him like he was part of the command crew, even though he wasn't authorized for certain controls. The next morning, Sierra walked into the control room and stood in front of Ethan. "You accepted my gift," she said softly. "Yeah," Ethan replied. "It was beautiful. I didn't want to offend you." "You don't understand," she said, her voice calm but intense. "That crystal wasn't a thank you. It was a bond. A sacred offering. On my world, giving that crystal means ... marriage." Ethan stared at her, confused, thinking she must be joking. But Sierra wasn't smiling. "It is more than a symbol," she explained. "It connects our life paths. It links our fates. If one of us falls, the other feels it. If one grows stronger, the other does too." Ethan's heart raced. Wait. Are you saying I accidentally married you?" Sierra nodded slowly. Behind them, the captain stepped forward, alarmed. "This can't be legal." He didn't know what it meant. Sierra turned to him, her expression respectful but firm. "On your ship, your rules may apply. But in my culture, his choice is binding." He accepted freely, without pressure. The bond has already begun. Ethan could feel something in his chest, a strange warmth he hadn't noticed before. He looked at the crystal still in his hand. It was glowing brighter now. He tried to deny it, tried to say it was all a mistake, but inside, he knew something had changed. He wasn't the same. Something inside him was different now, that night. While alone in his quarters, Ethan heard a whisper in his mind, not like a voice, but a feeling. A presence, Sierra, not watching him, not speaking, just there, like a gentle wind brushing against his thoughts. He stood in front of the mirror, holding the crystal again. What had he done? Was this really a bond, or just alien misunderstanding? But Deep inside, something told him the truth, that it wasn't a mistake, that it was the beginning of something much bigger than him. Much bigger than he could understand. Asterisk. By accepting the gift, Ethan didn't just change his life. He changed the fate of two species. Asterisk. No alarms rang. No loud warnings flashed. Yet, something had changed the moment Ethan touched that crystal. The ship didn't notice it first. He did. That morning, Ethan woke up before the ship's artificial sunrise, not because of a dream or a noise, but because his heart felt full, as if something was moving through him, not blood, not fear, something he couldn't name. He stood by the mirror again. The crystal still sat on the table, glowing softly, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Then the door behind him opened, without a sound, without command. Sierra stood there. She wasn't smiling, but her face was calm, like she had expected. This moment, you feel it now, she said. Ethan nodded slowly. I don't know what I feel, but yeah, something's different. Sierra stepped inside and closed the door with a swipe of her hand. You didn't just accept a gift, she said. You accepted me. Ethan sighed, rubbing his face. You said that yesterday, but I thought maybe I misunderstood. Sierra shook her head gently. No, you didn't misunderstand. Your people use contracts, oaths. We use the soul. She reached toward the crystal on the table. This stone is not just tradition, she continued. It contains my life signature. When you touched it, it read your DNA, your energy, your truth. And it found you worthy. Ethan took a step back. Okay, wait, so this isn't just some cultural mistake. You're telling me I've been chosen? Sierra looked into his eyes, calm and sure. Yes, Ethan Cross, you are now my bonded one. My partner, in your words, my husband. The word hit harder than he expected. He wasn't laughing this time. Back on Earth, love was complicated, marriage even more so. People dated, argued, separated, started over. But Sierra's words weren't about feelings. This was something deeper, ancient, unbreakable. Still, he needed answers. What does this mean for me? Ethan asked, his voice steady now. Do I lose my freedom? Is this forever? Sierra nodded. The bond lasts as long as we live. If you try to break it, that energy inside will collapse. It will kill both of us. Ethan turned away, stunned. Across the ship, rumors were already spreading. Crew members whispered in the corridors. Some joked, others looked nervous. One alien woman boards the ship, and now Ethan's linked to her forever. But it wasn't a joke anymore. Later that day, during a routine systems check, something strange happened. Ethan placed his hand on a console that had refused to unlock for weeks. The console lit up instantly. Blue symbols flowed across the screen. Symbols no human could read, but Ethan could. He didn't understand why. The meaning just appeared in his mind, like a memory he never had. A warning flashed. Unit connected. To bonded one. Access granted. The captain called an emergency meeting. You're saying the alien tech is recognizing him? She asked the science officer. He nodded, eyes wide. It's not just recognizing him. It's responding to him like he's part of it. Ethan stayed quiet. Sierra stood behind him, silent as well. Finally, the captain looked at Ethan. Is there anything else you haven't told us? Ethan looked down at the crystal in his hand. It was pulsing faster now, warmer, I think, he said slowly. This thing is changing me. Everyone stared. The science officer whispered. This could be a threat, or a gift we're not ready for. Sierra spoke then, her voice clear. He is not just changing, he is awakening. But before anyone could ask more, an alert echoed through the ship. A ship had appeared out of hyperspace, sleek, black, and not human. Sierra turned pale. They've come, she whispered. My people, they're here for me. Or for him. Ethan stepped forward. Why would they come for? Emmy? She didn't answer, but deep inside, Ethan already knew. He wasn't just her bonded one anymore. He had become something far more valuable than he ever imagined. He thought he was helping a stranger, but now he might be the key to two civilizations and a war he never meant to start. It didn't start with a question. It started with a warning. If you try to leave her now, the alien voice said coldly, you will die. Ethan stood in the middle of the command bridge, heart pounding in his chest. The transmission came from the alien ship that had appeared just hours ago. Its dark shape hovered like a shadow outside Starfire 7, silent and unmoving, but dangerous, like a blade held at the edge of peace. The alien on the screen had silver skin and golden eyes. That didn't blink. We sense the bond, the alien said. It cannot be undone. If he tries, both souls will collapse. Ethan clenched his fists. I didn't agree to anything like this. I didn't know what it meant. But the alien didn't care. Intent does not protect you from consequence, he replied. Laws are older than your world. Then the screen went dark. Captain Arya turned to Ethan, her voice calm but tight. We have a serious problem. No one argued. Sira sat in silence near the edge of the bridge, her eyes distant, as if listening to a voice only she could hear. Ethan walked toward her. You knew this could happen, he said, not with anger, but confusion. I hoped they wouldn't find us, Sira answered softly. I thought if we stayed in human space, they would not detect the bond. But they did. Yes. Ethan leaned against the wall, trying to process it all. Married by mistake. Bonded by alien law. Now hunted by people who saw that bond as sacred. Or dangerous. He had questions, too many. Can't we break it? He asked. I mean, really break it? Isn't there a way? Sira looked up, and her voice dropped to a whisper. There is one way. But it's not survival. Ethan frowned. If one dies before the bond settles fully, the other may live, she said. But once the link is complete, both fall together. Ethan stepped back. You mean, untrapped? Not trapped, she replied gently. Chosen. He turned away. The word didn't bring comfort. It felt like a cage. Later that evening, Ethan sat alone in the engine room, surrounded by humming machines, glowing lights, and the quiet rhythm of power running through the ship. This used to be his sanctuary, his space. Now even the ship felt like it was watching him. He opened a panel, checking systems, just to keep his hands busy. Suddenly, a spark, a flash of blue light jumped from the wire into his skin, but it didn't burn. It entered him. And for a second, just one, he saw something. Not the ship. Not the engine, but a world, a floating palace above a silver sea. A courtroom made of crystal. Hundreds of alien figures standing in a circle. At the center, two people, himself and Sira. It vanished in a blink. He gasped, falling back. Heart racing. Footsteps approached. Sira, you saw it, she said calmly. Ethan nodded, sweating. What was that? The union trial, she said. It's coming. I don't want to be part of this, he said, voice low. But you already are, she replied, and they will judge you soon. 2 days later, the alien ship sent a second transmission. Prepare your bonded one. The trial begins in 3 cycles. The crew of Starfire 7 argued over what to do. We can't just hand him over, said Officer Ray. But if we refuse, we start a war, the captain answered. And Ethan might already be part of something we can't stop. Ethan made the choice for them. I'll go, he said. If this is the only way to end it, or understand it, then I need to face them. Captain Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. You won't be alone. The alien ship took only 2 passengers, Ethan and Sira. As they boarded, Sira turned to him. There will be tests, questions, trials. What kind of trials? Ethan asked. Sira met his gaze. Not of strength. Not of mind. of truth. They arrived at a massive alien structure floating near a dying star, ancient, glowing with energy older than Earth itself. Inside, the Union Court waited. No walls, no ceiling, just a circular space filled with light, energy, and watchers. From hundreds of worlds, Ethan stepped forward and a voice filled the space, not with words, but with feeling. Do you accept the bond of your own will, knowing its weight, its danger, and its power? Ethan looked at Sierra, then at the council, then at the stars outside, and before he could answer, the ground beneath him lit up with blue fire. The trial had already begun. Asterisk. He thought he still had a choice, but the truth was, the bond had already chosen him. Asterisk. He was not standing on a floor. He was standing on memory. Beneath Ethan's feet, the glowing crystal surface shifted, showing flashes of moments he didn't remember living. Alien skies, ancient towers, a child running through blue grass. They weren't his memories. They were Sierra's. The courtroom wasn't a room. It was a sphere floating in space, made of light, thought, and truth. The Union Court, built by the first sentient race of Sierra's galaxy, existed outside time, where no lie could survive. Ethan stood at the center. Sierra stood beside him, her head slightly bowed. Around them, figures hovered, not seated, not resting. They floated in a perfect ring, each one a different species, their glowing eyes fixed on Ethan. A voice, not human, not alien, but universal, echoed in the air. Ethan Cross, bonded by the crystal of Valari, human of Earth. Speak now. He swallowed, his heart pounding. I didn't know what I was accepting. I thought it was a gift. Another voice answered, deeper than thunder. Your intent is noted, but intent does not remove impact. Another memory lit the ground. Ethan touching the crystal, Sierra whispering ancient words, the energy passing between them. Then, something new, Sierra's face in the shadows, alone, crying. Before she ever met him, Ethan looked at her. What is that? Sierra didn't answer. The court did. You see what was hidden. This trial is not just for you, it is for her as well. Ethan watched as the light beneath his feet rose and wrapped around them, a soft storm of images, thoughts, feelings. He could feel her loneliness, her desperation, her fear of being erased by her own people. She hadn't just offered him the bond to thank him, she had offered it to survive. Sierra finally spoke. I was marked for exile. My ship was meant to fail. My people gave me the crystal not as a gift, but as a trap. If I found a bond, they could not erase me. It would break the law. Ethan stared, stunned. So I was a shield? Sierra nodded once, her voice quiet. Yes, at first. Anger rose in Ethan's chest, but also something else. Understanding. She hadn't tricked him out of cruelty. She had been running from death, and he had unknowingly given her life. The court circled them closer now. Ethan Cross, you were not told the truth, but you chose to protect her. You accepted the bond. You defended it. The lights flared. But choice alone does not make you worthy. Suddenly, the chamber darkened. Ethan felt a pull inside his chest, like something was being taken out of him. The voice returned. To judge the strength of the bond, we must test your soul. Ethan collapsed to his knees. He wasn't in the courtroom anymore. He was home. Earth. But not the Earth he knew. It was burning, crumbling. He saw human cities falling under alien skies. Ships crashing. Flames rising. And in the center, himself, older, colder. Stronger. A warlord. A symbol. Not Ethan Cross. Engineer. Ethan Cross. Weapon. He turned, and Sierra stood there, holding the same crystal. But this time she looked afraid of him. Ethan shook his head. No, this isn't me. But the world answered back. This is what you could become, if the bond grows unchecked. Ethan screamed, and the vision shattered. He fell back into the crystal courtroom, breathing hard, face pale with fear. Sierra caught him. He looked up at her, You saw it too. She nodded slowly. I always feared what you might become if our connection gave you too much. You're kind, you rise quickly but fall faster. Ethan stood, trembling. But I'm still. May, he said. And I choose not to be that. The light pulsed. The court watched Dot, and then a single figure stepped forward, not glowing, not speaking, just present. A being made of stone and starlight. It placed one hand on Ethan's shoulder and one on Sierra's, then, for the first time since they met, their minds fully opened. He saw everything, her past, her pain, her bravery, her guilt, and she saw his childhood, his fears, his dreams of something bigger than fixing ships. And in that moment, they understood each other, without words, without walls. The courtroom faded into silence. Then the voice spoke once more. The bond is real. The bond is complete. The trial is past. He entered the trial as a mistake. He left it as a legend, but the true battle had not even begun. The celebration felt wrong from the start. The crew of Starfire 7 gathered in the mess hall, raising glasses, exchanging nervous smiles, pretending to celebrate Ethan's return from the Union Court. The trial had been passed. The bond was accepted. No war had started, but something hung in the air, thick, invisible, and sharp. Ethan felt it the moment he walked in. Not everyone was happy. He had survived. Not everyone believed he should have returned. Sierra stood beside him, silent and graceful, eyes scanning the room like a soldier in enemy land. She could feel it too, a presence hiding in plain sight, a whisper behind the smiles. Not everyone here was human. Not everyone here was loyal. That night, after the small gathering, Ethan returned to his quarters. The crystal lay on his desk, dim but steady, humming softly, like a heartbeat under glass. As he reached for it, he paused. Something was off. He turned slowly. The door behind him had stayed open just a little too long. Someone had entered the ship's access code, and it wasn't him. Ethan grabbed a wrench from the wall and moved forward, but no one was there. Not in the hallway, not in the shadows, and yet he knew someone had been. The next morning, the ship's AI glitched. Small things at first. Door logs vanished. Camera footage scrambled. Security overrides accessed remotely. The tech team tried to explain it away. Just data static from the alien courtship's proximity, they said. Residual interference. But Ethan wasn't convinced. The ship was hiding something. Or someone was making sure it did. Later that day, Sierra pulled him aside in the engine room. There's a tracker inside the ship, she said. Not human tech. Hidden in the ventilation. It's pinging coordinates to someone outside. Ethan frowned. Who would plant that? Sierra looked at him, her voice low. Someone who wants the bond to break from the inside. They followed the signal. It led them to a quiet section near the maintenance bay, rarely used. Dimly lit, almost forgotten. There, behind a vent panel, they found the tracker and something else. A blade, not a normal one. This weapon shimmered with energy, forged from the same alien crystal that bonded Ethan and Sierra. But this version had been corrupted, cracked, dark, unstable. Sierra's face went cold. This is not just for tracking, she said. It's for severing bonds. Ethan's eyes widened. You mean someone on board wants to kill us both? She nodded. Double quotes, yes, and they know how. The captain was shocked when they reported it. Security was increased. Crew were questioned. But there were no answers. Only more silence. Only more fear. Sierra couldn't rest. Neither could Ethan. That night, the ship powered down. A total blackout. No lights. No gravity. No sound. Ethan floated from his bed, heart racing. The emergency lights flickered on. A whisper echoed through the hall. Not a voice, a message. The bond makes him dangerous. Remove the threat. Restore balance. The words repeated, burned into the wall with plasma. Whoever had done this They weren't just against the bond. They believed Ethan had become a weapon. Maybe they were right. The next morning, during a systems check, Ethan reached toward the central core, just to inspect a small issue. But as his fingers touched the panel, the metal bent beneath his hand, melted, reacted to him. He pulled back. Stunned. Sira watched from a distance, her eyes full of worry. "It's happening," she whispered. "What is?" "You're not just bonded," she said slowly. "You're evolving." Ethan stared at his hands. "I didn't ask for this." "No," she said, "but now you must control it, before someone else tries to control you." Later, in the observation deck, Ethan found a crew member alone, Officer Rel, one of the tech crew. He had always been quiet, always distant, but this time when Ethan approached, Rel stood too fast, too defensive. Ethan noticed something. A cut across Rel's palm, glowing faintly blue. "You touched a crystal," Ethan said. Rel didn't deny it. "You weren't supposed to survive the bond." Rel said calmly, "It was meant to collapse. That was the plan." Ethan stepped closer. "You're with them, aren't you?" Rel nodded once. "They fear what you might become, and they should." Before Ethan could react, Rel lunged, fast with the same crystal blade they had found earlier. But this time, Ethan didn't move. He didn't need to. The blade stopped inches from his chest, frozen in mid-air. By nothing but thought. Rel's eyes went wide. Ethan spoke, his voice steady. "I didn't ask for this power, but now that I have it, I'm not afraid to use it to protect what matters." Rel dropped the blade. Ethan didn't say another word. He turned and walked away. The enemies were never just out there. They were already among them, and the power inside Ethan was only getting stronger. He didn't sleep anymore, not like before. When Ethan closed his eyes now, he didn't dream. He saw particles moving in the air. He saw energy running through walls, wires, living beings. He saw the language of the universe, not with his eyes, but with something deeper. And the strange part was, it felt natural, like he was always meant to see this way. But deep inside, he also knew it wasn't human, not fully. Ethan sat alone in the ship's gravity chamber, eyes closed, breathing slow. Around him, small metal pieces floated, bolts, wires, broken chips. They turned slowly in the air, circling him like moons around a silent planet. He wasn't touching them. He was guiding them with thought. Not forcing, flowing, like the ship was part of him now. And he was part of something else entirely. Sira entered, quietly, watching him from the doorway. She didn't speak. Not yet, because she had seen this before, long ago, on her own world. A child once bonded with ancient tech, changed forever, turned into something powerful. And then feared. And then hunted. She spoke softly. "It's getting stronger." Ethan opened his eyes. "I'm not even trying anymore." "That's how it begins," she said. "And that's also how it ends, for most." He stood up, the metal parts dropping to the floor gently. "I can feel the ship. I know where every bolt is, every wire, every system, even your heartbeat." Sira didn't move. "I know," she said. Later, during a crew meeting, the captain brought up something urgent. A signal. A wide-range pulse coming from a deep space station, one that hadn't sent transmissions in over 70 years. "We checked it 3 times, the captain said. "It's broadcasting in Villari code." Sira looked surprised. "That station was lost during the First War," she said. "Only ancient tech could send a signal like that." Ethan spoke next. "We're being called." The crew went silent. "You felt it?" the captain asked. Ethan nodded. "Not just felt, I heard it, in my mind." Some crew members exchanged worried glances, but Sira stood firmly beside him. "We must go," she said. "There are things buried there, secrets even I was never allowed to see." The journey to the abandoned station took 3 days. Ethan barely slept, not from fear, but but because the energy inside him wouldn't stay still. It moved through him like a storm looking for shape. On the second night, he stood in the dark corridor, staring into a blank wall. Then, without touching it, the wall slid open. Behind it, a hidden room, filled with glowing stones and ancient metal tablets, alien code carved across every surface. The AI didn't detect it. No one knew it was there. Except him, because it had called to him. When they arrived at the lost station, they docked in silence. No lights, no motion, just cold metal and still air. But as Ethan stepped onto the platform, the station woke up. Lights flickered on, doors unlocked, gravity stabilized, because it recognized him. He wasn't a visitor. He was a key. Sierra walked beside him, her face tense. This place was made by the first architects, the ones who discovered the bond. But they disappeared long ago. They reached the central core of the station, a sphere of light surrounded by 6 rings, all floating mid-air. As Ethan stepped closer, the rings spun slowly, humming louder. Sira whispered, "It's reacting to your DNA." Ethan didn't speak. He placed his hand on the central light, and suddenly, the room exploded with color. He saw a galaxy, not as stars, but as a living, breathing system of thought and motion. He saw humans rising, aliens falling, planets burning, others healing. He saw versions of himself, thousands of them, each taking a different path. Some chose peace, some chose power, some chose to destroy. The vision ended. Ethan fell to his knees, gasping. Sierra caught him. "What did you see?" she asked. He looked at her, eyes glowing faintly blue now. "I saw what I might become." Back on Starfire 7, the crew ran scans on Ethan. His cells were changing, not mutating, enhancing. Human limits were being rewritten. Reaction time, memory, neural speed, even aging. "His DNA is hybridizing," the science officer whispered. "Half human, half Valari." The captain turned to Sierra. "What does this mean?" Sierra's voice was steady. "It means the bond has evolved. He's no longer just part of this. He is the bridge between our worlds." But bridges attract more than peace. They attract war. As Starfire 7 left the station, long-range sensors picked up a fleet, 10 ships, cloaked, approaching fast. And at the center of that fleet was a symbol even Sierra feared. An ancient mark, burned into their ships, meaning only one thing: sever the bond, at any cost. Ethan had changed, but the galaxy wasn't ready for what he was becoming. He never planned to become a legend. He just wanted to fix engines. But now Ethan Cross stood between 2 galaxies, holding power he never asked for, and facing a choice that could rewrite the future of both. Outside the viewport, the enemy fleet closed in, their ships like dark wings blotting out stars. At the center floated the Judgment Ship, ancient and alive, built not for war, but for endings. Sierra stood beside Ethan, her hand trembling slightly. "They've activated the severance protocol," she whispered. "They're going to destroy the bond, even if it kills us both." Ethan looked down at his hands. They didn't feel like his anymore. They hummed with quiet power, the kind of power that could heal or destroy, the kind of power that terrified everyone who saw it, not because of what it was, but because it was new, and nothing in the galaxy feared more than change. A voice echoed across the ship, sharp, cold, unblinking. "Ethan Cross, you were warned. The bond was never meant to cross species. Return to Earth. Break the Union, or be erased." Captain Arya leaned forward. "They're serious. They're ready to fire." Ethan spoke quietly. "They don't want peace. They want control." Sierra turned to him, her voice breaking just a little. "If you stay with me, Earth becomes a target. They'll see it as a threat." Ethan stared at the map. The blinking dot labeled Earth felt smaller than ever. He had never been anyone special. He didn't want to lead, but now, if he left, Humanity might never get this chance again. The chance to stand equal beside ancient empires. He looked at Sira. This bond, it gave me something more than power. She looked back. Silent, it gave me you. They had one option left, hidden in the vault of the old station. The last gift, an artifact sealed by the first architects. Sira had only read about it in fragments. A core of living energy that could rewrite reality for one moment, that it had never been used, because it demanded a price, one life, for a future. As the enemy fleet prepared to fire, Ethan and Sira entered the vault. The room was shaped like a heart, glowing veins pulsing in the walls. At the center, a floating orb, pale white, swirling with stardust. Ethan stepped forward. The moment he touched it, time slowed. The vault spoke to him, not in words, but images. Earth, united with the stars. Cities of mixed species. Children, born of two worlds, but also war. Destruction. If the bond was forced too soon, it could break both sides, but if it was embraced freely, it could change everything. He opened his eyes. Sira was crying softly. You know what it's asking, she said. He nodded. One must stay, the other must return. Outside, the enemy began charging weapons. On board Starfire 7, the crew braced for impact. Ethan held the orb tightly, his skin glowing with its light. Then he did what no one expected. He turned and placed it in Sira's hands. Her eyes widened. Ethan, no. But he smiled, not with regret, but peace. You are there. Proof, he said. You are their bridge. And Earth needs its own. She tried to speak, but he was already fading. The bond wasn't breaking. It was dividing. His half would return to Earth. Her half would carry the message to the stars. The vault released a pulse of light, so bright, every ship paused in silence. The enemy stopped. The weapons powered down. No war began, because in that one moment, the galaxy understood. The bond had not broken. It had been shared. Ethan woke up on Earth, weeks later in a field of green, under a quiet sky. He didn't remember how he got there. Only that he was alive. And changed. His eyes still glowed faintly. The crystal still pulsed in his palm. But Sira was gone, somewhere among the stars. Carrying his truth. Years passed. Earth changed. First contact became cooperation. The bond once feared became studied, respected, even desired. New ships were built. New treaties signed. And in the center of it all, a statue in the capital city. Two hands reaching across space. One human, one alien, connected by a crystal. And beneath it, a name carved in stone. Ethan Cross, first of the bonded. The man who gave everything so two worlds could begin. He accepted her gift, not knowing it was a marriage, not knowing it would become a legacy.